Welcome back everyone, this will be my Spider-Man No Way Home alternate ending and deleted scenes video. There are so many things that did not make the final cut because this movie is so big. As you'd expect, it's kind of like Avengers Endgame, like Spider-Man Endgame, and there were so many deleted scenes from Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, so no different with Spider-Man No Way Home. If you're new to the channel, we're doing an IMAX giveaway for tickets for the movie. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and just leave your favorite moment from the movie on the video. Careful for spoilers if you haven't seen the movie yet because we need to talk about everything that happened. But Tom Holland revealed that even though things worked out with their multiverse story, bringing back Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield as their versions of Spider-Man, as well as the legacy versions of Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, Electro, Sandman, and Tom Hardy's Venom from all their movies, the entire third act of the movie in the ending changed almost every day when they were working on it. That's basically all the events starting with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield being portaled in by Ned Leeds and MJ and then working with Tom Holland's MCU Spider-Man going full Spider-Man science bros to fight the Sinister Six, cure them at the new Statue of Liberty, their big final battle, and the way they end the fight with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man stopping Tom Holland from killing Green Goblin and Doctor Strange performing the second spell. So basically everything involving Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield during the film. The reason it kept changing is mostly because of their availability and Sony and Marvel people working to get them on board and figure out exactly what they'd be doing in all their scenes.
You'll get your rent when you fix this damn door!
So the alternate version of the ending is really just bigger than just the ending, and it goes hand in hand with all the multiverse, Spider-Verse, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield stuff, as well as the Sinister Six multiverse villains. Early on, when they had just started figuring the story out, like what it would actually be, before they started filming, Tom Holland said that the Marvel and Sony people had come up with an entirely different group of villains for him to face in the film. A completely different story that did not involve the multiverse, because at the time, they didn't think that they'd be able to get Willem Dafoe, Alfred Molina, Jamie Foxx, Thomas Hayden Church, Rhys Ifans to come back, and at the time, it didn't seem like they would be able to get Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield back. Like, if they hadn't been able to convince everybody to come back and sign contracts, the whole movie would not have worked. So their backup plan, this alternate version of the movie, was to make Spider-Man No Way Home a Kraven movie. They were basically going to do the story of Kraven's last hunt, where he almost kills Spider-Man successfully. Like, he's on the edge of death at the end of that story. Kraven literally buries him in the ground, just like Aunt May got buried after her death in the film. So the very end of the film, like this actual ending scene of him getting the new apartment and making his new comic book accurate Spider-Man suit based on the classic cloth one from the comics with the brighter colors and the new Spider-Man symbol, was still going to happen. They were still trying to get to that moment, like the tag scene of him swinging through New York City during Christmas, metaphorically reborn, retuned as a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man from the comics, more ground level, was still going to happen. But the way they dealt with the Mysterio plot was going to be different. Doctor Strange was still always going to be in the movie. They would have still used a version of the spell to make people forget that he was Spider-Man. It's just that the effects of the spell would have been more contained to the MCU Earth. And they wouldn't really dealt with the consequences of the spell till Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Whereas we actually see some of the consequences during the end of the film with the big purple tears in reality. We wouldn't have seen as much of that happen till Doctor Strange 2. And the spell would not have started pulling all the multiverse villains from the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield movies into the MCU. Even though in the theatrical cut, when we do see the purple tears and those characters start showing up, like the bright blue creatures from other universes, other characters that know a version of Spider-Man is Peter Parker, most of those characters are other Spider-Man villains. Like there's a version of Kraven the Hunter, there's a classic version of Black Cat, Rhino. But this alternate version of the movie would have mostly just been Kraven seeing Spider-Man doxxed by Mysterio, like watching the broadcast like everybody else on the planet, and then targeting him as the ultimate hunt, like the ultimate challenge. And he would have seemingly successfully killed Spider-Man. But at the end of the movie, Doctor Strange would have still done the spell, everyone would still have forgotten him, including MJ, Ned Leeds, all the Avengers, so they were always going to take him back to friendly neighborhood Spider-Man territory, like get rid of all the tech. There was also an alternate version of the movie where Tom Holland said that they focused more on a civil war between Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. For a while, that aspect of the story was just a much bigger deal to the plot, and they were going to spend way more time on it. But then all the Sinister Six multiverse villain stuff and the Tobey and Andrew stuff started working out. Everybody started signing their contracts, so they focused more on the multiverse characters in the theatrical cut. Correctly so. I think they did the right thing there. Because it's already kind of hard to believe that Doctor Strange would fight Spider-Man and that Spider-Man would actually be able to beat him. In the theatrical cut, the way they played it, it was more like Doctor Strange was giving him a chance to prove himself, like, alright kid, I'm not trying to kill you or anything. The whole joke about him getting reverse Loki'd, stuck above the Grand Canyon for 12 hours, I've been falling for 30 minutes.
I have been falling for 30 minutes!
In reality, Doctor Strange is powerful enough to have freed himself from the mirror dimension immediately. So he's more like a very annoyed surrogate father to him, the way that Iron Man got super pissed at Spider-Man during Homecoming for wrecking the ferry. There's a deleted scene of Doctor Strange and Wong that you all probably spotted from the trailers when they're figuring out how to help Spider-Man with his Mysterio problem at the very beginning. In the theatrical cut, Wong says, the spell's too dangerous, but then Doctor Strange argues with him saying that it's not, and then Wong just says, okay, fine, but leave me out of it, and then goes to Camartage. In the trailer version of the scene, there was an alternate version where Wong says, Strange, don't cast that spell, it's too dangerous, and Strange says, fine, I won't, very sarcastically. Then Wong steps through the portal to Camartage, and after he's gone, Strange winks at Peter, like he's defying Wong's direct orders.
Strange, don't cast that spell. It's too dangerous. Fine, I won't.
The funny thing you also probably spotted in the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness trailer is that they actually brought back that deleted version of the scene from the Spider-Man trailer, like it plays right at the beginning.
Don't cast that spell. It's too dangerous. Why?
We tampered with the stability of space-time.
That's just all in service of the idea that Doctor Strange and his variants across the multiverse to make a Loki connection with all of Kang and his variants, Loki and his variants. All these Doctor Strange variants are doing things to break reality in their own universes. That's why in the Doctor Strange trailer, Baron Mordo is saying the greatest threat is you.
The greatest threat to our universe is you.
Things just got out of hand.
He's talking about Doctor Strange and his variants. There was a very big deleted cameo scene in Spider-Man No Way Home with the younger version of Morgan Stark, played by Lexi Rabe from Avengers Endgame. I believe it would have just been another Iron Man Avengers Endgame callback in the way that Spider-Man Far From Home featured a lot of Iron Man references with Skrull Nick Fury, the disgruntled Stark Industries employees like Mysterio, William Ginter Riva, the others that were working with them, the Edith glasses and the drones. They only briefly mentioned Stark Industries a couple times during Spider-Man No Way Home, with a special fabricator and the Iron Man arc reactor that Happy stole and put in his apartment, and when they're being investigated by Damage Control. They don't mention Pepper Potts. She's still currently CEO of the company, and presumably during this whole montage when J. Jonah Jameson is broadcasting all this stuff, they would have also featured a small cameo scene with Morgan Stark. I'm assuming they cut it for time mostly because they didn't have Gwyneth Paltrow coming back, and it would have been weird to have a scene with their daughter Iron Man and Pepper Potts' daughter and not have Pepper be there herself too. And they probably felt that because of all the Doctor Strange stuff, the Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield multiverse stuff in the movie, they didn't need more Iron Man references. And the whole movie, just in general, is about them getting rid of all that Spider-Man tech and making him more of a ground-level, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man again, like comic book Spider-Man. There was a big deleted scene with Tom Holland's younger brother in real life, Harry Holland, also during that J. Jonah Jameson Daily Bugle montage at the beginning of the film. When you see Spider-Man get that green paint thrown on him in the advanced suit, that was supposed to happen to him after he stops a mugger on the street. And the mugger was going to be his younger brother, Harry Holland. He stops him from robbing someone, but then on the street he gets mobbed by the Mysterio stands and one of them throws the green paint on him, which is what we actually saw during the montage, just the part with the green paint. Then talking about some of the differences in this big final battle here at the Statue of Liberty, there were versions of this final battle without Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield. Like there was a point at which they had the Sinister Six villains confirmed, they'd all signed contracts, but not Tobey or Andrew. So that version of the final battle presumably would have been Doctor Strange coming back sooner from the mirror dimension and fighting the Sinister Six with Spider-Man. And there were various points where they had Andrew Garfield confirmed coming back, but not Tobey Maguire. So Tobey Maguire was like the last person to sign a contract to come back. So for a while, you have to imagine all the scenes of them together mentoring Tom Holland's Spider-Man, all the Team Spider-Man Science Bros scenes, and it just being Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man helping him, not Tobey Maguire. As far as I can tell, though, the Venom post-credit scene was always what we saw in the actual film. He was always going to show up for just a little while, have like a funny moment as a tag scene, then leave a piece of the symbiote behind and go back to his universe. He was never supposed to be like a really huge character or anything like that. And it's a bit of a surprise, but I feel like the actual theatrical cut of the movie that we got did wind up being the best version of the movie. Sometimes you hear about all of these deleted scenes, alternate endings, post-credit scenes, like all the Nova scenes in Avengers Infinity War, all the Charlie Cox Daredevil scenes that were supposed to be in the Hawkeye series, and you're like, aw, that would have been so much cooler if we would have seen those. But the theatrical version of Spider-Man No Way Home did wind up being the best version of the movie, which is amazing. I will do more Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield videos soon. I'm kind of waiting just a little bit longer because there's still a couple countries around the world that have not got the movie yet for some strange reason. I know a lot of you are asking if the timelines of their universes have changed because they cured the Sinister Six villains. Like, does the plot of Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3 in the Amazing Spider-Man movies now end differently? And is Andrew Garfield's universe the same universe as the Morbius movie because of all the crazy Easter eggs in the trailer? So I'll do videos for those really soon. Make sure you have alerts enabled for my channel so you don't miss those. In my full Book of Boba Fett Episode 1 video will post next Wednesday when they release it. Book of Boba Fett episodes now happening weekly, replacing all the Hawkeye episodes. Congratulations, David Carr, you're the giveaway winner from my last big Marvel video. Please email me on the About page of my channel so I can get your contact details. Everyone click here for my full Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness trailer video, and click here for my Spider-Man No Way Home post-credit scene. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.